Recently, I've had questions about, is the world an illusion? Is it real? And one man wrote me a very long letter. He's been to a lot of teachers, he's been around quite a lot. As a matter of fact, he's even written a small book. But somehow he asked me a question, and I put it in a succinct form in this booklet that you'll be getting after topic. And he says, teachers say that Maya, you know what Maya is, illusion, right? Maya means that our life is an illusion. Do they really mean to say that this world and this life is a dream? I went to a Satsang teacher of Ramana Maharshi's lineage, and he said that his teacher, Robert Adams, would say that nothing of what we know as the world exists. So do you think that the notion of Maya really means that all this life is just illusion and nothing really exists? See, you cannot say yes or no to that, because it's misleading. Either way it's misleading, so we'll have to explore it. So let's go into exploration of this, because it's all about oneness, really. Until we begin to glimpse that everything is one, then we simply can't understand. There are no material things as we know it. Any scientist will tell you all matter is over 90% empty space. And it's not as we think it is. But unless we know the oneness of all life, we see a world out there, very tangible world. Because the mind, of course, creates it. The mind attracts and makes real through the senses. But I'd like to really listen to the following example. Let's say that the sun is the truth, okay? Just for this example, and you're looking at the sun because it is the truth. So as you look at the sun, not only you get burned up, but also you get blinded, right? So what do? You turn your back to the sun. But as you turn your back to the sun, all you see is your shadow. And then the shadow becomes real to you. In fact, the whole world becomes your shadow, and to you is very, very real. But there's a midway point between burning yourself up with the sun, looking directly at it, and seeing your shadow. The midway point, Buddha called it the middle way. And at this point we call it understanding of oneness. Now you might say, but why is looking at the sun, which is supposed to be truth, burns us up? Why is that? Has anybody, do you remember I said oneness? As long as you think there's the truth and you've missed the point. You see? There isn't the truth and you, there is only the truth. You are an expression of that. But this is very, very subtle. And so the middle way, which is understanding, this understanding of oneness, brings the two together, brings the important thing. Now, one thing that I'd like to explain here, we can go into, is what is called the law. One of the laws of oneness is called natural selection. You probably have heard of it. All of life comes from natural selection. Now, natural selection immediately creates duality, which is called attraction and repulsion. Okay? But attraction and repulsion are not opposites. They are in duality. They seemingly opposite, but they are needed to create oneness, to create everything from itself. In order for life to appear as we know it, we have to have opposites, you see? But in truth, there are no opposites. And that's why Robert Adams said nothing exists. What he meant was this, that there's only existence. Anything that exists is an appearance of existence. So in the ultimate sense, nothing exists. You see, it only appears to exist. Everything is just energy. Everything is just spirit. Everything is just, you know, the essence. The natural selection, the best way to explain natural selection is to think of a fetus in the womb. Now the fetus in the womb, of course, the parents, all they do is just create the fetus through making love. But the point is, what makes the fetus do what it does in the womb? You see, this is the whole point. So attraction, it attracts what it needs to make an eye, to make a kidney, to make a heart, to create a brain, to create limbs, and it dispenses, repulses anything which it doesn't need. Attraction, repulsion, you see? And this is the perfection and intelligence of nature, the very intelligence of nature. But what is interesting about nature is there is no waste in nature. You see, that is something that the mind does not understand, because if it repulses something, where does it go? Nature always makes use of it, and it always knows exactly how to use it. So attracts where it needs to go and repulses where it doesn't need to go to create the perfection. For example, the brain itself is an incredible thing we take for granted. That it's made up of 13 billion cells, and the cell, when it's examined through electron microscope, it's intelligent, it's moving, it's alive, you see? And so, but of course it can be seen with the naked eye. Now the body is made up of trillions of cells. Each cell is intelligent, each cell is consciousness. But if we look at matter, matter is also made up of the same energy, same consciousness. But it's a different substance, it's a different frequency, different vibration, it's more dense, and therefore we think it's solid. But do you know that there's no such thing as solid space, as solid matter? Only to the naked eye, to the senses, you see? So this is where we begin to understand, is it illusion or not illusion? In the ultimate sense, there is no illusion, because everything is essence, everything is God, everything is spirit, you see? But, so I called it the illusion of illusion, because sometimes we say, well, I want to make sure I exist, I am not, so I look in the mirror and see my reflection. Illusion of illusion. You see what I mean? Just like the Course in Miracles said that words are symbols of symbols. And when you explain the explanation and you go into it, you more and more and more you dump into conceptual, thinking. In other words, we complicate things by trying to explain them. And I hope that satsang is not just explanation, but reaches the heart. So we explore to understand the oneness. One important facet to understand oneness is what we call true love. All my life, of course I wanted love. Who didn't? Everybody wanted love. I wanted love from my father, which as a child I didn't get. But not because of his fault, but because of what had happened to me earlier, etc., etc., and I wouldn't talk about it. But it's a long story. But the point I'm trying to make is that everyone wanted love. Everybody wants love. But I realized through years of doing this that true love can only happen in the awakened state, when we truly realize we are one. Because oneness and true love are one and the same thing. How often we say, I love you, to a person, and the person says, oh, I love you, and we think this is love. Okay? But true love is simply the compassion understanding of that oneness. And this means that it starts with you, because in reality, all you can ever see is yourself. All you can ever understand is yourself. In fact, the whole world, the way you see it is how it pertains to you. If you happen to be miserable, the whole world is miserable. People are angry at you, people are awful, But if you happen to be in love and you're very happy, then of course people are lovely and they're smiling at you. Of course, we see what we see. So we go back to, yes, so to work with oneness, you have to work from the vantage point of where the field of experience is, which is here. Your presence, your awareness. So how is that true love? Well, true love is this. And this is the real test of true love. It has nothing to do with loving or being loved. It has to do with how much compassion and understanding you have when you have hate in you, or greed in you, or guilt in you, or shame in you. Are you willing to forgive it? Are you willing to see it for what it is? Because of duality, you see? We remember what we said in the beginning. You know, nature cannot take place, the world cannot appear unless it has opposites.